I think that everybody knows each other in this gathering so far, unless other people come in. Um, but just to start, I'll go over the funding balance in our account. Um, the NRWI checking account has $40,060.16. There was 31 cents of interest in July, and I'll be writing up the municipal request letters to go out in September. Haven't started doing that yet. That's on my list. So I'll send those out to the towns in NRWI. Does anybody have any questions about the funds for NRWI?
Nope.
Cool. So just going into actions, I mean, there's a grant updates later on the agenda, and Jamie's going to give some updates on what she's been working on. But Kathleen and I were talking about flooding, which is a thing. So in the area, and there is a NRCS program called the Emergency Watershed Protection Program. Municipalities can apply for funds to help with cleaning out debris from blocked culverts, lost stream channels and erosion, sort of the natural resources side of everything. And there is a fact sheet that I can send out to anybody. I've got it somewhere open. I'm going to share it. That's what I'm on. But I can email it out with the minutes. But basically, towns can apply, and then NRCS staff will come do assessments on properties. The application process is just a template request letter that I can send out with the minutes from this meeting as well. I did send it to Kathleen before this meeting because she mentioned going flooding. So if other folks know there's issues, and I can certainly send that information out. Otherwise, other actions I'll get to in the grant updates. And
Chris, before you move on
yeah,
from that, I just have one quick question.
of course.
On the EWP, could it be retroactive? Because sometimes what we'll do here down in New Canaan is it's an emergency and they basically have to repair the road. So the town does hire the contractors to do this activity. And we have photographs of everything, we document everything. Can we still apply to get reimbursed through this, or does it have to be in disrepair?
No, it's any sort of damage, and I believe, and it's an NRCS program, so I can't speak to 100% confidence only because I don't administer it, but it's the date that you send that template request letter in. So any work that would be done after that, I believe, can be covered. But if you do it before sending in a request letter, then no, is my understanding. That might not be 100% accurate, but the letter I sent you is a template. It's like fill in the blank for I am the town of this. We have these types of potential damages that happen from this date, and sign it. It's a one-page thing. I think you have to put it on the municipal letterhead.
Okay.
And again, it doesn't commit the municipality to doing anything, but it does open up the process on the NRCS side.
All right, I think that's good. Thank you so much for sending that. And we probably will do it. We have a grant writer now, so I'm going to share it with him. I'll share it with our emergency operations director and our public works chief there, because I know we have things that they may be doing temporary fixes right now, and there may be a long-term engineering fix that has to be implemented.
Right.
So good. Thank you.
Yep, sure thing. And I'll definitely send that out to everybody after this meeting's over, actually before we even do the minutes, just so it's in people's hands. I have been sending it out to some of the other towns that I knew were hit pretty hard, like Oxford, Southbury, Monroe, some of those communities. I haven't gotten to everybody yet, just jamming along on things on this end. Does anybody have any other questions about that funding program? Jamie, do you want to talk about the minutes from July? I wasn't there, so I won't vote on them.
Sure. It was a pretty short meeting. I have them pulled up right here. Most of it was actually grant updates. And then we kind of went over the parameters of those grants and member involvement in that. And beyond that, I won't go into too much detail on that because I assume Chris will be talking about a lot of it again later. But beyond that, I know Jeff had mentioned a project that USGS was working on, and he wanted an update on that. I have not heard back yet. It might be because they haven't heard back yet, but basically it was about making information on some nutrient studies they had been doing available to the public. So once I hear back about that, I will share that with you. And then the only other thing was that Diane shared that ONG, I don't know if you want to talk more on this, Diane, but ONG had withdrawn their zoning application, which is something that Jeff had mentioned at the June meeting. So that was pretty much everything from that meeting. It was quite a short one. So
Jamie, thanks for doing the minutes. I too was not able to be at the July meeting, but I feel very up to date. The minutes were very comprehensive, at least from my review of the minutes. So I appreciate you taking the time to do them.
of course.
So Kathleen and I weren't there. Does somebody that was there want to make a motion to approve the minutes as Jamie presented them?
So moved. Diane
Thank you, Diane.
Lorich. Yeah.
Anybody want to second that? Louise, thank you. Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye, raise your hand, jump up and down, whatever you want to do. Kathleen and I think I'll abstain since we weren't there. I think that's the typical practice.
I actually think Diane and Louise were the only ones there. So
Perfect. All right, so minutes are approved as presented, and we'll go to updates from the coordinator. So Jamie, do you want to take over?
Yes. Okay. So I've been working, as has Chris, with the UConn stormwater core still since last meeting. I attended the Wilton site visits. I'll probably wait for Chris again to touch more on that grant in general, but I was able to participate in that in person. Mike gave us a tour of the town. So that was great. We attended the National Association of Conservation Districts conference in Boston, and I think got like some good resources there that hopefully we'll be able to incorporate into NRWI in the future. This is something that Jeff had brought up at the last meeting, was looking into restoring the NRWI's old website. I'm not familiar with that website. That was before my time, but it is something that I've been looking into how to do a bit, and I've been discussing it with one of the other SWCD employees. So we're looking at how to kind of build that back up and seeing if we can find any of those old resources that were on it. And then we've also been working on the list gift grant. We finalized the paperwork on that. That's all I'll say. And again, wait for Chris. But hopefully soon we'll start setting up meetings with those of you who are interested in having input on site selection and being a part of that process. And yeah, I think that's everything since the last meeting.
Anybody have any questions for Jamie? Diane, you have a question?
Yeah, quick question, and thanks again for the minutes. From those minutes, I'm trying to sort out the acronyms, but there was going to be the chance that, Jamie, that you would find out for the, I think it was the UConn students, as to, they had made a presentation of their green infrastructure sites for Wilton or maybe Westport. And I was asking whether there was whether I could take a look at their, I guess, PowerPoint presentation. And then also just to see what the Norwalk conversation was as far as the sites that were selected.
Yeah, so I talked briefly to the students about it. I think I have to go more based on what the professors say, and I have not gotten a chance to talk to them. I don't know if you have a feeling of what that might be, Chris, better than I do.
I mean, I don't think that there would be any problem with sharing those. It's basically the slideshows are an overview of the sites that the students visited with some general diagrams and concepts of green stormwater infrastructure for each property. Um, I don't think there'd be any problem with sharing. So we can confirm that, and Diane certainly forward you links to those materials. I think they're all on the UConn professors like Google site or Google Slides kind of page. So it'll just be some hyperlinks, I think is how we could share them to you. I don't see that there'd be any problem. I didn't know that that request had come in until I looked at the minutes, so I can work on that for you.
Yeah, I'm actually mostly interested in the Norwalk sites that
Mhm.
I guess were pre-selected, and I just would like to know what that presentation was, which staff people were conferred with, if they took a tour. I'd love to know about that, and then the final selection sites, because I was told that those sites have already been determined.
Yeah, so this is bleeding into the grant updates a little bit, but the program,
Oh,
it's fine. I was going to talk about it anyway then. So um, the Yukon team tries to pre-select sites in a town, looking at like aerial maps and um, looking at municipal properties that the town owns, because it's easier to do implementation. It's easier to schedule visits on properties that the town owns as opposed to going a bunch of private locations. So a lot of the types of properties in any of the communities would be like schools, town hall, senior centers, those sorts of municipal properties, and then looking at any sorts of green infrastructure opportunities at those locations. It could be rain gardens off a downspout of a building, or a vegetated swale from a parking lot, something along those lines. So the staff for each community kind of changes based on who's available. For New Canaan, Kathleen attended, and I think somebody from Public Works was at that one as well. Sometimes the town engineer has come, so it's staff that would be familiar with the buildings that are discussed in that presentation, but also could bring sites to the attention of the Yukon team that actually have stormwater or flooding known issues or concerns. So that would be part of that discussion as well. Um, so that's kind of the summary of how the sites are selected. And then the presentation is a review of the students who actually, when they visit those properties, and sometimes municipal staff are going with them and giving more insights on the properties while they're in the field. So that's the quick, I guess it wasn't actually that quick now that I think about how long I've been talking, summary of how the students pick those sites. And Dan, I can certainly get those presentations and share them with you, in particular the Norwalk one for sure.
Also, Chris, as Kathleen Hull, I just want to add, since I went through this process with the UConn folks, we also really looked for sites that we could eventually provide public education outreach. So that was another key factor, and obviously trying to do that on private property isn't necessarily going to reach the public. So and obviously known areas to the town or the staff of flooding issues, and Chris may have mentioned that.
Thanks, Kathleen. That was a good add-in. So if there's no other questions about Jamie's presentation, I can talk a little bit more about the grants. For that Long and Town Future Sun grant, all 5 communities have had their presentations from the students, and now we're going to be working with the municipal staff to select one of those properties to actually do the implementation. And I know that those conversations have been happening internally. We haven't moved forward with anything in any of the communities yet. Kathleen, I think you were having a meeting recently about those sites. So kind of we'll wait to go from there. And the next steps is that the Conservation District will be working with a subcontractor to do the installation in each of these communities. And there's roughly $26,000 or $27,000 available for implementation in each of the 5 communities. And once those implementations are done, that actually would close out the grant then at that point. So we really moved along pretty quickly this summer so that the students could do the presentations while they weren't tied up in classes during the day in the academic year. So that's the Long Island Sound Futures Fund grant. The LISCIF grant that Jamie put together the application for and we were successful with, we actually just signed the agreement with LISCIF for that, for all the paperwork on how those funds will be distributed, who will be involved. They are requiring us to write a QAP for the project. We're not collecting any data, but it's because we're using secondary data. It's all going to be mostly DEP stuff. So Emma, your data better not have any mistakes in it. So you find it in our QAP. So we have to put that together. We haven't done any actual work because we didn't have an agreement signed and we didn't want to do grant work before signing the agreement because you often can't get those funds in time reimbursed then. So we actually have our internal kickoff with LISCIF tomorrow afternoon. So that's Jamie, myself, and then some folks from LISCIF just to talk about their processes for submitting invoices and some other items along that front. After that meeting is set up, we're going to work on writing the QAP, which is also an internal piece. And then we will start doing the connections with folks in Norwalk, so folks in the municipal staff. And then Diane, I know you're interested in that project as well. And I believe NRWA maybe even had some previous connections in some neighborhoods that we might be able to cross-reference and cherry pick some folks from for targeted outreach. So that's all coming soon, but we haven't done any actual work just because we only signed the agreement last week. So that's the update on that grant. Does anybody have any questions on that one? And then the last one is the Sea Grant Award that we got to actually rewrite the watershed-based plan. The first go-round, nobody bid on that, and the folks at Sea Grant did some had some conversations with bidders who had bid on other projects to find out maybe why nobody bid, and they were also looking for some additional funds to kind of boost up the budget for the project. I know that the project has been rebid. I have no idea what any of that looks like. We're not involved. Sea Grant is doing all the admin on this. So assuming that the award is made with a bidder, what would then start happening is Sea Grant will hire that subcontractor and they will meet with this group to give updates on the project, but we won't actually be doing any of the management or payments or anything like that. So I don't know if they've received bids. They usually let me know when things come up on that front. And I know that it has been rebid because Felsen O'Neill asked me a couple questions about the bidding process, and I had to tell them that I'm not involved in that process, so that they should connect with Sea Grant folks. All right, Diane, you have your hand up?
What I wanted to say is maybe in an effort to kind of sex up the RFP or RFQ, because of from the last time we updated the plan, since then we're seeing the results of climate change. We are seeing the pesticides in the watershed. We are seeing PFAS from various uses. So there's some changes that are happening that could make it more attractive and helping us in our future. So I don't know, should I reach out to Sea Grant? Or, I mean, I think it's needed now more than ever as an update because of especially what we saw with this amazing extreme weather event on Sunday and beyond. So, and the resulting flooding and that sort of thing. Just a thought.
Dan, I appreciate the offer. I don't know how much Sea Grant communication would be because the rebid is already out in the world, so they probably aren't going to change it again at this point. I agree with you about making it more of a maybe broader scope. And I know in our conversations with Sea Grant, we did talk about having a resiliency lens built into the watershed plan. So that would be looking at some of that flooding and resilience of our systems, both natural and man-made. So that was part of the language that we had given them. I don't know what the RFP says. I didn't go chasing it or anything like that, but we had given them language to include so that the final project would check the boxes for anybody that did agree to write the plan for us. I don't know if that helped answer your question or address your comment. There's a follow-up.
No, that's great. That sexes it up.
Yeah.
Resiliency.
Maybe I should have put that in the language. That would probably get more hits, right?
Thanks.
Yep. So those are the 3 active grants that we have right now. I think that's the end of my update. So I'll flip it over to Jamie, and then maybe Emma's involved in this too for the PFAS meeting.
Yeah, so we this is stuff we discussed at our last meeting, but because so few people were there, I just wanted to keep it on the agenda for this meeting. We have set up tentatively, I think it's official now though. I'll have Emma confirm, but yeah. We can't hear you, Emma. Sorry. Okay, while we're waiting for Emma, I'll just say that tentatively, and I'll let her speak more on it in a moment, but we have set the date up for our regularly scheduled meeting in September, which is Wednesday, September 18th, I believe. So it'll be 2 p.m., the same Zoom link. And Meg Lawley will be joining us. She's been given access to the PFAS questions, I believe. And I'll turn it over to Emma now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes this happens with our microphones. I don't really know what's wrong with it, but you unplug it and you plug it back in like the good old trick it is, and it works. So thank you, Jamie. I don't have too much to touch on. I did send Meg Lally an email and reach out to her just to confirm that date. I haven't heard back yet, but as far as I know, she has that held in her calendar, so there shouldn't be any issues there. I also made sure to forward her those questions that you all put together. And yeah, I think that the way that she'll approach the meeting will be more casual. But that's something that we can discuss more as we get a little bit closer to kind of what her plan will be. But she does have all of your questions to refer back to, so she kind of gives you all those details that you're asking for. But yeah, that's my update. Thanks.
What time is that meeting on the 18th, Jamie? Do we know? Do we have that set yet, or?
It'll be 2 p.m.
Oh, 2 p.m. Sorry.
Yep.
So I just have a clarification point, and I don't have the answer to this, but is the plan for the PFAS discussion to be the only thing that day or in addition to the regular NRWI meeting?
I guess that's something that we would discuss or that we can all discuss, but my understanding was that it'd probably be the only thing. But we can open that up to everyone.
That was my thought, but I didn't want to assume that.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll take up that meeting and be focused. I think that's good.
Me too.
Awesome.
Any question?
Yes, great that we're having this. I wanted to know, there is a public portion at the end of our meetings, and would you encourage us to have the public listen in for this presentation?
I mean,
don't
I
wanna speak for the state, but my 2 cents is, based on what Emma said, it seems like it's more of a casual, informal, maybe like a first step into let's hear what the initiative folks are thinking. Obviously, I think our meetings can be open to the public, but that's sort of my 2 cents. Maybe, I don't know, maybe someone else wants to chime in.
I was just going to say, I'm very much in agreement with what Kathleen said, but I was going to go at it from the track of that we're going to record the meeting, and so we can certainly share that out to anybody after the fact. But I also had the sense that it was kind of a NRWI conversation going into the meeting. So, obviously folks that have been to our meetings in the past or involved with our organizations makes sense. But I think inviting the broad general public might not be the actual intent or understanding of the conversation.
Okay,
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. Well, it's good that okay, that is good. I'm a member, like Louise, of the PFAS Coalition, and we're trying to address the issue of letting the public know about certain avenues for PFAS, not as necessarily watershed based, but it is all in the public realm. So thanks for that update.
Emma, you were going to chime into it, looks like.
yeah, I just kind of want to reiterate kind of what Kathleen and Chris said, kind of hit it right on the head. For this specific meeting, I think the goal is to speak directly to NRIW folks. I think joining the public into it would be a good idea in the future if there is enough feedback from the meeting and we feel like there's a good opportunity to involve the public. However, this meeting is intended to speak directly to NRWI folks, kind of about what's going on, what their concerns are, and we also don't want to overwhelm Meg coming to the meeting and not being prepared with everything that she's looking to address. That's just my 2 cents, but yeah, something that we can definitely look into moving forward. I think that this upcoming meeting will bring a lot of additional questions, surely, but I think some clarity on some of the topics that have come to the surface recently. Thanks.
Thanks, Emma.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Thanks for the question, Diane. It's a good one. So any other PFAS meeting questions from the group? Cool. Jamie, do you want to talk about the meeting day change? I know it was in the minutes, but I wasn't here. And it looked like
Yeah, so
Thursday.
this is the same situation where we talked about it last time, but again, so few people were there that I thought it would be a good idea to carry it over to this time as well. We were just thinking of switching our regular meetings over to Thursday, same time. We'll send out a new Zoom link and calendar invite for it just to help address some of the scheduling conflicts that we know some of our members have been consistently having. I know that for everyone that was present last time, it was okay with them. So I just wanted to check in with a few more of you before I send out an email to the whole group.
That'd be fine with me.
Awesome.
Yeah, Thursday is better for me. So
Which Thursday of the
that's
week
worth
is it? Sorry, Jamie. I'm keep asking you to repeat.
No, that's okay. I think we keep it as the third Thursday, so just be one day back from our current meetings.
Okay.
That's good.
Awesome.
everybody here agreed to Thursday, so that's perfect.
And it would still be 2, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I have something.
What I'll probably do is we can use this same Zoom link for the PFAS meeting because it's a Wednesday, but I guess in October then we would do a regular meeting on Thursday. I will create a new link that's based on Thursdays just so that it blocks the time in my Zoom app and I don't double book something or attempt to double book something. So I'll make sure that new link gets sent out to everybody and is highlighted after I create those meetings.
And I just want to let you guys know, I might wait till late September to send that out just so I don't create confusion about the September meeting.
Good
That's a
idea.
good idea, Jamie. All right, Jamie, is there any other under old business?
Not from me. I don't know if anyone else has any. Doesn't seem like it. So.
No. Is there any other new business?
I wanted to let you guys know about just one kind of update and just to let you know, because we're trying to spread the word that this coalition of organizations that has come together over the last couple of years concerned about pesticides in our surface water. We're calling ourselves CPR. It's Connecticut Pesticide Reform. We're actually based on the USGS data showing, levels of neonics in, especially the Norwalk River, because they've been testing that, every month for the past 15, 20 years, and the Connecticut River, but they did 16 rivers in 2016. And so based on all that data, we know that there's the presence of imidacloprid in our rivers, at levels lethal to aquatic life, chronic levels. So we're trying to build on that. And we have a grant, we have a sustainable CT grant, match grant, that we're just trying to spread the word about to help pay for testing across Southwest Connecticut. So Dick Harris is working with Chris Perkins at the Cease Lab, and we've already started doing testing. So if I could put in the chat this, it's an online grant. We're just trying to spread the word. So I wanted to tell you guys, if you could, send it to your friends, post it. I don't know if the towns would post it, but it's just all of the money is going to testing water quality for pesticides. And we're really focused in Southwest Connecticut. So I am going to put it right in the chat. There's a Facebook page for CPR. That also has it. That's easy to share. So that's it. That's my update.
Louise, thank you for sharing that. I have a clarification question. So the sustainable CT match, you're talking about sharing a link for like a crowdfunding piece.
Yeah.
And then sustainable CT matches whatever is raised. That's how they're
Yeah,
built.
so we can raise 7,500 and they'll match that 100%.
Yeah, it's a really great program. I think there's a lot of opportunities for folks to use that program. I just wanted to clarify that you're
Yeah.
looking at the crowdfunding source of its side.
This is the crowdfunding source. Yeah. But most of the towns where we're doing the testing are sustainable CT towns. So it's working out. We're just trying to build on the USGS data. And then I'll just let you guys know too, we're looking for hopefully a grad student, maybe we're asking around for grad student that might want to help us put together all the data, like the USGS data, the data that we are going to be getting from this testing. And then we talked to Chris Bellucci and he helped us get access to the macroinvertebrate data in the Norwalk River. So since we have so much data on the Norwalk River, we're kind of focusing on that. So we need somebody to sort of go through that and look at trends and help us put together a report that can just help educate the public and legislators about this issue. So we're working on that, and any ideas or thoughts you have, you're welcome.
Louise, do you have a sort of position description for that grad student that you're looking for? Because I could certainly share that to some professors that I know.
Oh, you could? No, because we came up with that idea this morning. So
what do you mean you don't have it ready?
But let me work on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be glad to share that out.
Okay. I mean, we don't have funding to pay that grad student. We just have lots and lots of data that needs to get synthesized. I mean, we do have a report. New York did a report. They actually hired a consultant to do a similar kind of report, which helped them pass their Birds and Bees Protection Act. So we have like a model report. So we have that as well to kind of be a guide. We just don't have any money to hire a consultant to do it. So I'll put that together and send it to you. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd be glad to share it out. Hi, Alexis. We assigned you all the tasks since you weren't here. We're actually at the very end of our agenda under new business other, and Luis was just telling us about the crowdfunding that they're doing with Sustainable CT and just posted the match grant to do water testing for neonics along the Norwalk River and in the watershed. So she's going to put together a job description. They're looking for a grad student to help with that data sorting and analysis. So that catches you up on the new business that we've talked about. I can certainly stay on after the meeting, give you a summary of the meeting if you want to do that. But if anybody else has other new business, we can pick that up now.
I can just do a quick update on where we are with the Yukon Storm Corps. As you mentioned, we talked about this at the beginning of the program here, Alexa. The New Canaan, we are, our internal team is reviewing the proposals, and we're at the point of coming to a consensus of what would be a location that we would like to see implementation of. Now that we do have some good guidance from Yukon after they've reviewed all of the various sites, we are now bringing in the guys that would actually maintain these sites should they be actually installed, to get their input, because we would like it to be successful from a maintenance point of view. So I got some excellent feedback from our parks director. He clearly read over everything and had some good follow-up questions. Our town engineer is currently away on a couple-week vacation. She returns, I think, this week. So we're going to regroup probably next week with these other comments, and then we will be getting back to, I believe, Yukon and Chris and the team, just to say, here's our selection. I think that would be our next step. And then we'll take it from there. But thus far, it's been a really terrific experience. And I see that they are currently, some posting went out, they're looking for so the next group of municipalities to participate in this program. And I would encourage any municipality that has not done it to do it. It really was a great experience. And to say that they did it quickly, but they did it quickly and efficiently, and came out with some really good results. So the students are amazing, and the professors, the whole program was really done very well. So I encourage anyone who has the opportunity to do it for their municipality to participate in that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think Norwalk is in a similar place. We're still having internal discussions about kind of what, and we need to circle back with Chris and talk about, because I know some of the options are maybe cost prohibitive, and our public works chief is away for a few weeks as well. So, but yes, I agree. The students and their two professors are amazing, and were amazingly efficient at coming up with their suggestions.
It was also great that Jamie got to participate in quite a number of the communities, because I think that gives Jamie sort of a boots on the ground feel for the watershed and what's happening down here, being a fairly new coordinator. So hopefully, it sounded to me like from Jamie's review earlier that she enjoyed doing some of the site visits in the various communities related to this project. So it will be neat for Jamie eventually to see something actually implemented and how it all comes together, from planning to actual functioning of a system.
Yeah, implementation is always the most fun, right?
Yeah, the most tangible for sure.
Right.
And
There's
just go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to add in that. So for any of the implementation stuff, it's going to go through the district. So if you have questions about the concepts, that would go back to Yukon, but their kind of piece is almost done at this point. They might help with some of the more, a little bit more detailed for designing once a site is selected, but any of the subcontracting work for implementation will go through our shop. And then Jamie would also be going to the sites during the construction and making sure that they stick to plans or whatever else, and doing some of the inspections, that sort of work.
Right.
Excellent.
I just thought of one other update that's kind of a good news thing. It's the Norwalk River Watershed Association and the city and the Norwalk Land Trust got a DEEP grant for the Urban Equity Forest. Did I say that wrong?
No.
Urban Forestry Equity Grant. So we got $150,000 to put in a Miyawaki microforest in South Norwalk. So it's going to be the biggest microforest we recently found out on the East Coast. So we're really excited about it. Be taking up some pavement and putting in this really dense planting of trees and shrubs in an area that is really depleted of tree canopy. So it should be, a great thing for that area of town. And we're
South
excited about it.
Norwalk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done on that grant writing.
That's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. What is the time frame for that?
We will not plant until next spring, I think. So there's a lot of planning. The city is taking up the old basketball court, and there'll be a lot of prep over this winter. And then next spring we'll start planting. Yeah, we have a year and a half to do it, and we want to work with some of the school kids and do a lot of outreach. It's a community. There'll be volunteers doing the planting and stuff.
Nice. That sounds awesome.
That's great. What is the address?
It is at Meadow Street Park.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Meadow Street. So right
Yeah.
next to the Norwalk Public
Meadow
Housing
Gardens.
Authority, Meadow Gardens. Yeah.
Right.
Out of curiosity, how large do you intend to make the plantings, the
forest?
Milwaukee?
It
the
is the
forest.
size of the basketball court that was there, and I should know that by heart. It's been long enough for me to forget how many square feet that is. Do you know? Did you remember, Alexis?
I don't.
It is
remember.
exactly the size of the basketball court.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, let me look that up. And we didn't realize there aren't any, like the Aspetuck Land Trust has done a bunch in Bridgeport. They've all just been a little bit smaller. So we're kind of excited about doing this larger one. Oh, that's it. Thanks. I'm looking up square footage of basketball.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Louise. I appreciate that. That sounds awesome. And if you could maybe share updates on that project with the group, I think that would be appreciated and appropriate.
Yes.
Okay,
Like
yes.
just under
I will.
10,000 square feet total.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. Well, 9,000. That was very rough. I don't have that.
Thank you both. Sorry to make you do a little rabbit chase there.
I
Just
can't remember. I
curious.
believe I can't remember the size. I don't know. Was it? I'll have to look back at the grant. I'll have better information at our next meeting.
Does anybody have any other updates or new business? Not hearing anything. I would imagine there's probably no public comment then either. Not seeing or hearing anything. So then, as we discussed earlier, our next regular meeting would be September 18th at 2 o'clock, and that's going to be the PFAS discussion with Meg Lally. So then the next regular meeting of this group will be in October, and we're going to move it to the third Thursday at 2 p.m. and I'll create a new Zoom link for that. Uh-oh, Alexis is not a good poker player with that face.
Yay. No, I just
Thursday's better?
I feel bad.
Why do you feel bad?
Moving it from Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Sounds great to me.
If it makes you feel any better, no one had any opposition here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
It was unanimous. Everybody was.
Excellent.
yeah.
yeah.
And
There are features of habit.
I just wanted to note with that meeting, I will definitely confirm with Jamie prior to that date, just so you have confirmation moving forward. And I'll let you all know. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, so at this point, I think that our meeting is over. Does anyone make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Louise. Kathleen, I'll let you second it. Since you had
Second.
all in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye. Aye. And I will see folks at the September 18th PFAS meeting. And Alexis, if you want to stay on, I can just chat briefly with what we talked about in the meeting.
Okay, sure.
And I'll stop recording for that part.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Drive. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.